All right, let's get into it. Today, we're looking at a really powerful and personal story about transformation. It's all about a mom who, when faced with a challenge that made her feel totally lost, decided to go back to school. And she didn't just do it for herself, she did it for her son. And it all started with one single, tough realization.
So this is where it all kicks off. This one sentence captures that gut punch moment of discovery. A moment that gives you an answer, but at the same time opens up this huge void of uncertainty. Just imagine finally understanding why your child is struggling, only to realize you have absolutely no map for what to do next.
To really get what she did next, we have to understand what she was up against. It all came down to this one diagnosis that was about to change everything for their family.
So the diagnosis was prenatal alcohol exposure. And what that means is it's this whole range of effects that can happen. And yeah, having a name for her son's challenges, a scientific reason is one thing. But a textbook definition doesn't exactly tell you how to handle the day-to-day, right? It was like getting an answer that just led to a million more questions.
Okay, so this is where we get to the real heart of the story. Getting that diagnosis, well, that wasn't the finish line. In a lot of ways, it was the start of a whole new battle. It was a true tipping point.
And this says it all, doesn't it? Not just confused, not sad, but completely lost. Can you imagine that feeling? Like you're just floating, with no direction, no map, nothing. This was her rock bottom.
But, and this is the most important part, she didn't stay there. This one little sentence, it's a huge deal. It's a statement of resilience. It's her deciding, nope, I'm not going to let this feeling win. This is where she starts to fight back.
So, how do you find your way when you feel that lost, when there's no clear path? For this mom, the answer was pretty simple, but powerful. Knowledge. She decided to turn that desperation into an education, and that's what started this whole new chapter.
And you can really see the shift right here. She went from just feeling lost, which is totally passive, right? Things are just happening to you, to taking action. It was a conscious choice. She decided, I'm not going to be a victim of this diagnosis, I'm going to become an expert on it.
And look at how she did it. She didn't just Google a few things. She took health classes to get the basics down, and then she dove deep, head first, into the complex science behind her son's condition. She wasn't looking for a quick fix. She was building an arsenal of understanding. That was the only thing that could really push back against that feeling of being totally lost. But here's the interesting thing. All that knowledge she was gathering, it wasn't just for her and her son. It ended up becoming something so much bigger. A whole new purpose she never saw coming.
And here it is. Now, she teaches other moms. Just think about that transformation for a second. She went from being this student, just desperate for answers herself, to becoming a teacher for other parents who are on that exact same scary, uncertain path. She took her own personal struggle and turned it into a beacon of hope for a whole community.
So this wasn't just about teaching anymore. It really became a mission to share what she learned, to build a support system, and to make sure that other families wouldn't have to feel as lost as she did, to make sure they had the resources she had to fight so damn hard to find for herself. And her mission really boils down to these three things. First, becoming an FASD advocate, being a voice for something that needs one. Second, empowering other moms who teach, creating this network of shared knowledge. And the big one, the ultimate goal, helping to break this cycle, to create a future where there's way more awareness and support from the get-go. If there's one phrase that sums up this entire journey, it's this: from pain to purpose. It's just so perfect. She took the absolute hardest thing in her life and transformed it into this incredible, motivating purpose that's now helping so many people.
Her story is it's such an amazing example of turning that feeling of helplessness into real power, all through learning. And it really leaves us with a question to think about in our own lives, right? Whatever challenge we're facing, big or small, how can digging in and really gaining that deep, intentional knowledge not only help us get through it, but maybe even transform that very challenge into our greatest strength?